You might have seen this Foundations patch for sneak peek, and a lot of players seem to have been sharing this. And this is your PSA. This is not real. This is not from any of the developers or any of the moderators of SBI. This is actually fake. So if you see the Foundations patch for sneak peek, it's not real. The first time that I saw this though is from Cosmejc. This was actually one of the things he did say here that share this so the devs can see this. He did a lot of changes that he thinks is going to be better for the game. But this is the one that has been making the rounds because it does, on the first, like when you're looking at it, first glance, it does actually seem legit. Okay? Aside from the fact that it comes from a recruit, someone from you, and whoever this guy is. And it does say sneak peek with the P lowercase. There's like a lot of things that alerts that this is not a real thing. Even if you go to the comment section, it's like, I know, I'm sorry, bro. It's like he's just trolling. All right. But there is something that may be beneficial for us to look here. And let's see. Let's look at the changes. Let's look at the proposed changes that this user has said. And let's see if it actually makes sense. All right. So the changes, custom arena. All right, I guess just custom arena. We already have custom arenas, but yeah, can now bet money on custom arenas apparently. Or I think in custom arenas you can now bet money, infinite food and potion while inside the arena. Really bad. Yeah, that doesn't make sense. It's like duel, but like for groups, I guess. But not really. Miss Abby dungeon changes. So just look at how it's worded, and you already know it's fake. So don't be fooled by this. But let's look at it. Let's see if it makes sense. All exits now will be on the edges of the map. All exits will now only be on the edges of the map. Okay, so making the center more of like fight. You can't really escape if you're in the center. There's some merit to that. Okay. Yellow buff now yellow buff. It's not even using the right term. Yellow buff now grants 15% cooldown reduction when activated. Instead of damage and speed, it's now 15% cooldown reduction. Yeah, nah. Chest will now only spawn in the middle, prone for camping. But with all of the exits now in the edges of the map, this kind of makes sense along with that. Okay, miss changes. Mobs no longer deal damage to mounted players. Oh, that is actually... Oh, I like that change. Because you no longer get ratted. Oh, I actually like this change a lot. Mobs no longer deal damage to mounted players. Because when you're fighting dismounted and you mount up, they disengage anyways. So this will make it so that players cannot rat anymore. Okay, I like that. Camps will alert you if there's another player inside of it. So no more invis. I don't like this at all because the mist is very exciting when you don't know everything that's happening. I don't like this, but I really like this a lot. This makes a lot of sense for just the ratting part. If they want to fight, they fight fair, or else they're not going to be dismounted. That's actually really good. All right, corrupted dungeon changes. Breaking all 3 crystals will now take 5% of your infamy. That is a good suggestion. Although, okay. All right, that is good, I would say. But some players break 2 crystals and then they wait for you behind the 3rd crystal for you to break it. So yeah, this is not going to solve the problem, but it's an okay suggestion. Crystals will now disappear permanently if you have been debuffed 5 times by the Memphits. Okay, so the Memphits that he's talking about here is the bats. The bats that give you debuff of lower health and slow. Now, it will disappear permanently. That is actually really good. It forces you to fight. After 5 times of the Memphit. Okay, I like that a lot. Soccer Corrupted Dungeon Memphits will now spawn 180 seconds of invasion instead of 300. Really good. Making it the same for Slayer. I agree with that. I like that. Once a player gets invaded, both players will appear in the map until they come in 30 meters range to each other. Once a player gets invaded, both players will appear in the map. I don't like that at all because sometimes when you are the invading player, you actually get spawned in like middle of the mob sometimes. So that is I don't like that at all. Yeah, this is a no for me. Once a player gets invaded, they will be invisible to mobs. Both players. Ah, okay. Still, kind of easy to get cheesed. Gives the advantage to the one being invaded. If he can actually put in like players will be spawned at least X meters away from each other so that no one gets cheesed. I like that. Stalker Corrupted Dungeon now requires 1,000 minimum to enter and caps at 1,100. Over that gets reduced by 80%. 13, okay, Instead of 900, it becomes 1,000. I don't think this is a good idea because it makes the minimum too high for new players. Alright, combat changes here. The Pulse Shook. Is it called the Pulse Shook? I mean, I think it's called the Pulse Shock, right? Primal Staff. Yeah, it's Pulse Shock. It's not Pulse Shook. So, a Pulse Shook cooldown from 3 seconds to 3.5 seconds. The cooldown is even 4 seconds, not even 3. It's not even 3, it's 4. Okay. The distortion on all shapeshifters, 8 seconds to 10 seconds. I actually like this a lot. 8 seconds, I feel like it's a little too low for the distortion. The polymorph, the range becomes 18. Okay, radius is 3. Can now be cleansed by Guardian Helmet before transforming. This is actually really good. Now, this is one of the things that Cosmejc actually did, I believe. Yeah, so all of these, I think, were just copied from the original, which is Cosmejc. This is just the one that's like going around. Cast time is now 0.5. I do not disagree with that. For the other shapeshifters, he says here, shapeshifters. Fire Flash Orb. The Fire Flash Orb is this. Fire Flash Orb, range to 14 meters, explosions to 3 meters. Okay, I can see that. Yeah, this is definitely like super powerful in 2v2 Hellgates. And even if you saw the video of Nomad Poncho, I can get behind this. So this is like, if you look at this, right? If you look at this, again, this is a fake update. This is not real at all. Most of them make sense if you think about it. Obviously, we're not developers over here, and we're not sure how this will affect the overall game of Albion Online. But this, it seems reasonable. All right, the Axis and the Great Axe Whirlwind. Now each hit boosts users' mobility and damage for 5%. Stacks up to 5 times. Buff stays. Wow, I will like this. I would love to see this actually. This is kind of OP if you think about it for small scale and probably even like ZVZs. Probably not ZVZs, but like small scale and like arenas. This definitely is OP. We'll make the Great Axe usable again though, but that is definitely OP. Up to 25% more damage and buff stays 8 seconds after each hit. That's, yeah, nah. Good to see though. I would love to see some version of this. Battle Rush. Okay, he's buffing the Battle Rush. Internal Bleeding. Range from 6 meters to, okay, Axis. Internal Bleeding. Okay, here we go. Range is from 6 meters to 8 meters. Alright, not too bad. Not too bad. Again, within reasonable stuff. Alright, Enchanted Quivers on the regular bow. Remove dash and full stack if purge once. Oh, it removes dash and full stacks if purge once. So he's making it like the old bow, basically, when you can just purge the bow. Multi-shot. All bows range by 1 meter reduced. Knockback by half a meter. I don't know if multi-shot needs to be nerfed, but it's okay. The dash on all daggers. Energy cost from 5% to 10%. Dagger fighter. The dash on it. I think this is it. Yeah. Energy cost 5% to 10% because it's used in like a lot of daggers in the mist. Okay, I guess that kind of makes sense. The fling and the glaive increase 4 meters to 6 meters. The harpoon on all spears 2 seconds. Okay, this will not make any difference. Okay, rooting smash on the pike. Now after E, you get 10% bonus attack speed and 5% in mobility for 5 seconds. So after you root, you get a buff. Oh, after you E, you have that next wave of damages. Okay, I can see that. On the swords, on the dual sword, it's not even the dual sword. Spinning blades on the dual sword, not dual sword, it's dual sword. That's it. The spinning blades range is from 13 to 11. Radius 5 to 4. This will kill dual swords. If this is implemented, this is going to kill it. Fearless strike on the carving. Base damage 380. Yeah, I can see that because it's called fearless strike. Okay. Yeah, I can honestly see that. Mighty blow on the broadsword. Immune to CC fix hitbox. Immune to CC, this was how it was before the nerf. They were actually immune to CC. It might make the broadsword come back again. Okay, Death Ward Climax on the Boltcaster. Now you can move, but you get 30% less mobility while casting. So it's like the 30% less mobility. Is it 30% less mobility means 70% of your mobility stays? I would say 50%, but Death Ward Climax, I would see that. I can actually see that happening. It just makes it in line with, say, the Holy Beam. For the Holy Staffs, the Holy Explosion and the Great Holy, cooldown and knockback range, I would actually see this because this would be good for small scale and might be good for 2v2 Hellgates. The helmets, the Fire Breath, the Mage Cowl steals 10% of enemies' energy in 3 seconds? What does that even mean? Why? Why Fire Breath steals 10% of enemies' energy? What? Energy steal? Buffing the knockback on the force field on all cowls and removing its radius, okay. Retaliate on the Hunter Hood, 3.5 seconds instead of 3. This was how it was years ago. They went from like 4 seconds, 3 seconds, 100% reflect, 70% reflect. Now they settled at 3 seconds and 85% reflect. All right, the Fiend Robe, cooldown and the Fear Aura is reduced. Okay, Levitate. Oh, Health Restore. I don't know if this is warranted, this nerf, because right now Cultist Robes are almost exclusively used in Corrupted Dungeons. And nerfing them like this will kill it. Electric Field and the Stalker Jacket just make it less desirable for any content. I don't like this at all. Offhand and the Taproot. Max health, just a little bit more. Sacred Scepter. Now life steals 1% starting at 700 IP and gives 10% slowness debuff on users' normal attack for 1.5 seconds. This doesn't even make sense. Like, this does not even make sense at all now. Like, everything else was like reasonable. This is just like, what? No. Undead Cape reduces users' damage by 80% while invisible. Not users, but users. 80% instead of 50% for the Undead Cape. I would just make it like less. Undead Cape would be like from 6 seconds to 5 seconds invisibility, if that's like just 1 second less mobility invisibility, I would say, rather than 80% damage. But yeah, that is this is the fake update. So don't worry, this is not official. If you see Foundations patch 4 sneak peek, it's not real. Do not believe it. All right. Don't believe this crap. But this user, again, taking a lot from Cosmejc JC here, taking like a lot from this one. I would say they have some points. Not everything, obviously, this is just from the perspective of one user. Obviously, not everything that he said here made any sense at all. But if you see this, it's fake. I would love to see some of the changes here, actually. Like the losing of infamy when you break crystals. Actually, I would love to see that. This one as well. After the 5 bats, you can't escape anymore. I would love to see that too. But yeah, if you have any more suggestions that you think will improve Albion Online in general, leave them in the comment section below. Or better yet, join us live on Twitch at twitch.tv/Burnstone.